about 200 pages of weird homes from all over Austin, including some that are not around anymore. And unfortunately, that's one of the reasons that we love to give back to affordable housing is Austin is an expensive place to live. And the people who build these types of homes often over time can't afford to live here anymore. And so that's why we give to people like LifeWorks and others who are really out doing great affordable housing work in Austin. I also want to tell you guys, this is not our only tour. If you know someone in San Antonio, Texas, that has a weird home, our next tour, our newest and greatest tour, we're hoping to have in San Antonio this year. But how does that work? You, the people watching this, and your friends, your family, the people that follow you on social media, need to send us homes. And we're currently actively looking for weird homes in San Antonio, Texas for a tour later this year or early next year. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Portland. We have a great tour coming up in our sister city of Portland, Oregon, which is going to be September 26th. You can go to weirdhomestour.com and type in ATX Love to get 15% off your ticket for the Portland home tour. So hopefully we'll join you. Hopefully you'll join us for that. And we'll have people cracking jokes. We'll have people drawing on the screen because they feel like being sassy and mischievous, and all kinds of fun that we're having here today. But all of that to say, Steve, we are so excited to have you. You've just been kind of fantastic to us for 2 years now, being able to talk to us, explore your home, connect us with a lot of great people. I know Kevin and I have been really enjoying your YouTube channel, the Collector Guys, and hopefully you're getting a lot of good subscribers about that. But you know what, Steve, you're going to walk us through your home today. I see you've got your Kiss Army shirt on, so we don't want to spoil that just yet with these collections that you have. But I will let you take it away.
All right, so we are the Pop Culture House, and I like to describe our place as drenched in nostalgia. This is where you're going to see the toys from your past, the furniture that you grew up with, the dishware that you grew up with. And, you know, it's kind of tough following Brandon's house because here he has all this deep spiritualism, historic artifacts, where basically this house just has cool stuff. So we're going to start here as if you first come in the door. We're actually going to start pretty big because what we have here is, this is probably one of the biggest TV props you'll ever see around. This is a piece of Oceanic 815 from the TV show Lost. This was actually part of the wreckage that was on the beach. This was primarily from season 1, and whenever they would go reshoot some flashbacks to the beach scene. This is a piece of a Lockheed, it's a L1011 is what it is. And it is titanium and steel. It's 9 foot by 5 foot, and it weighs probably about 300 pounds. And when the show was over, they auctioned off all the props. This was in Hawaii, and in Tucson at the time. And this was put on a ship, shipped to Seattle, and then put on a truck and driven all the way down to Tucson. And with the box, it came out to about 500 pounds. So we have a Lost themed entryway, and this is a replica of the Dharma jumpsuit that he had later on in the series. And this is a great example of this show in particular of what pop culture is. Pop culture is when the population embraces a book or a show or a movie and makes it almost like part of society. And I remember when this show was on, if you were a fan of this show, you know, you would get together. It was on Wednesday nights. We would actually get together on Thursdays. You couldn't wait to talk about it and try to figure out what was going on. So in this room, we also have some production artwork here. We have some bobbleheads here, but this is from the actual auction that this Entertainment Weekly had, and they auctioned everything from the bus. And I don't know how many Lost fans are out there, but you know, all the Dharma beer to the ring, the key, to the hatch, all that stuff. So it was pretty cool. So I'm going to grab this. And we also have, actually, I'm going to go this way. This is our dining room is also lost theme. And this is my lovely wife, Diana.
Hello.
Diana. She collects this mid-century furniture called Hayward Wakefield. She's going to tell you a little bit about the pieces in this room.
So this we kind of call the lost dining room because we have the prints and kind of the palms that we tie into our big lost piece there. And I collect Hayward Wakefield furniture. So this is our dining room table from the 50s. And we got a curio cabinet from the 40s. And I collect Pyrex. So we have some of that in there. We had a custom light fixture made in the old retro way to tie it all in together. And this is kind of a fun room that we really enjoy.
Yes, and if we go back, again, we're still in the entryway. And as you're going to see, as we go through the house, you're going to see a lot of lunch boxes. And this area right here is from the TV show Sons of Anarchy. It's a signed cast photo. This is a picture of us with some of the people from the show. But this right here is a screen-used prop lunchbox that Jack's son used in the last season of Sons of Anarchy, which is another one of our favorite shows. So, and also here in the entryway, it's going to come up here. And this is the history of Viewmaster. And, you know, as you know, part of what we really love about collecting this stuff is the history that goes behind it and the memories that come with each one of these. So I remember going, you know, on our family trips in the summer and sitting in the back seat with this one in particular, looking at that lighted Viewmaster and looking at reels as we went along. Now, Viewmaster, that's the first one there. That was from early 40s, 1940. That second one there was used, the Model B was used for training in World War II to teach seamen in particular to identify enemy ships and at what angle they would have to shoot their shells to sink them. So, you know, Viewmaster didn't start out as a toy. It started out as a 3D postcards. It was, you know, it was for a lot of scenic shots. And it wasn't only until later when they found that there was actually money to be made by having Disney, as you can see, there's a Mickey Mouse one right there, Disney characters, and started marketing to kids and to the whole family. And that right there is that's the talking Viewmaster that, if you remember, did not sound very good. It was pretty terrible. So as we go around here, okay, we're going to finally walk out of the room. We're going to go into our living room here. Again, this whole room, for the most part, is mid-century stuff you would see in Grandma's room.
In fact, this is Grandma's couch. My grandma just actually celebrated her 104th birthday last month, and this is her couch, her table, and her chair from 1957 that she had, gosh, into the 90s, and finally wanted to upgrade. So I took it from her and had it brought to Tucson when we lived there from Michigan, and reupholstered it to make it vintage. And then the other pieces in the room, we kind of collected, you know, along the way. A Hayward Wakefield corner in the table, in the corner. Center table we got here in Fredericksburg. We got this wonderful bar over here locally, here in Austin, that has this great light, which is great for party entertaining.
And Steve, people are loving this room. They love all the furniture. They also love your wife's dress, so I want her to do that. And people ask, do you have slides for the Viewmasters?
Oh, absolutely. We have hundreds. I have all the ones I had as a kid. should be no surprise to anybody if we go to this house. I've not thrown a whole lot away in my life. But yes, we do have some very, very old. I have actually a training reel from the 40s that the military used in World War II. But I still have Wile E. Coyote, Popeye, the Disney stuff, and all that. And does the TV work? This TV does work, but it is one that's I don't have a converter to change digital back into analog for it, and it's so old that it would have to be brought up very, very slowly, or that tube might blow. But that is that TV right there. That's from like 1956, and it does work. Now, I'm going to point out something right here because you're going to see as we go along a lot of lunchboxes. And this lunchbox right here is, you know, we all remember our lunchboxes when we were a kid. This is the first pop culture themed lunchbox, which means before then, everybody took their lunch to school in something that looked like this. And Aladdin said, you know what, we're not selling, these things will last forever, we're not selling any boxes. So they took a sticker of Papa Longcastle, who was the biggest star in the early 50s, and put that on there, and now made it so every year you would want a different lunchbox, thus increasing their sales. So that is ground zero for the vintage metal lunchbox, I should say, for when we were growing up. And also over here,
this is a stereo that, of course, if we all remember, well, back in the 50s, it was a multi-purpose. You had your stereo. Inside of here is your record player. This lights up. And I don't think I've ever had it on here in this house. Again, it needs to be brought up properly because this is a tube appliance again. But it worked back in Tucson. And another TV, I kind of have a thing for TVs. I think they're pretty cool. And Steve's got some more lunch boxes up here.
these are all from the 50s. You know, Daniel Boone was huge, Katie Crockett, again, of course, Roy Rogers. They sold millions of these lunch boxes. And this is a good example if you want to collect anything that, you know, somebody will pass these Roy Rogers lunch boxes that they are rare, they are not rare. There are a lot of them out there. They're very cool and they're very old, but they made probably 6 million of these things in the early 50s. And then there's Tom Covert, Space Cadet, who was also an early, very, very early pop culture lunchbox for there. So, and my wife was not born in the 50s, by the way, so she would not remember any of this stuff. No. She was born in the 70s, so I unfortunately do remember some of this stuff, but I am not old enough. I was born in the 60s, we'll just say that. All right, so we're going here. This is the this is our living room, or family room, I should say. And this has a little bit of everything. And again, we are firm believers in surround yourself with what you love. And this is just another example of that. But we, you know, as collectors, and first I gotta say, I am the luckiest man in the world because I found a woman just like me who loves to collect stuff. So this is, I'm not, she's not the suffering wife who has to put up with this stuff, but it's, I'm lucky that she enjoys this stuff and she has her own interests and I have mine too. So yeah, I'm gonna go over here. Somebody just mentioned this. This was a Christmas present. My wife loves Volkswagens. So of course you can find anything on eBay. That was in Iowa.
Literally anything.
Anything on eBay. The little light does work underneath it on at nighttime. You can just see the light, the license plate. And my wife loves Hawaii, and of course the yellow list looks great.
And we got married in Hawaii.
And we got married in Hawaii too. I forgot that. Yes.
So Steve, another question here. You mentioned eBay and your amazing wife getting you that as a gift. Where do you guys find stuff? Are you at Round Top, the antique show? Are you on eBay? Or you have some algorithm trolling the dark places of the internet to find all of those? How do you guys find this stuff?
Well, it's a little bit of everything. We, you know, we kind of, eBay is an easy way. And we use it when, like right now during the pandemic, eBay is like the go-to. But we love antique stores. You know, whenever we travel, that's like #1 on our list. Is we got to go hit every antique store that's around there. We like to hunt and to find things, you know, to find them on our own. I mean, I could finish off a lot of collections just by going to eBay and just buying it. But, and it's good to find, there's some things you can't find anywhere else but on eBay, and that's just fine. But actually, antique stores, you make friends with other people that collect. Conventions, there are conventions for everything. There's Barbie conventions, there's action figure conventions. There's a lot of dealers at those. So there's a lot of places you can find this stuff, but I would say antiques or antique stores are very high on our list. And you know, estate sales, that stuff's up there too.
Oh, yes, those we're heading towards the 60s Barbies back here. This is where I keep the vintage Barbies and toys. This is kind of a lot of toy area here.
Yes, this is, we'll just start at the top. And I know we don't have 2 hours to go through everything here, but that is a $6 million man action figure. Remember, you can look through the back of his head and look through his bionic eye. This was the most popular toy, I believe, in 1976. There's a bionic woman there. That's actually something Powers. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he was G.I. Joe's version of Bionic Man. Down here to this is Major Matt Mason, who was very popular in the late 60s. And that's when the space race was in its peak, and we'd gone to the moon, and every kid wanted to be an astronaut. And then right here, this is our rarest thing in our entire collection. This is an empty space. Yes. That is the hardest thing to find in our house is an empty space. So
oh
there
man,
you go.
That is a great joke. How long were you guys waiting to tell that one?
You know what? She asked me this morning, she goes, "What you gonna stick in there?" I go, "No, I got exactly what I want to say for that little face up there." But it is the truth.
Somebody else in the chat said the other joke you could go with is, "This is my Invisible Man figurine."
There you go. There you go. There you go. And that would match. That goes into the famous Monsters lunchbox right here. I think the Invisible Man's on there somewhere, but you can't see him. So.
Someone mentioned the vintage Barbies. This is a #3 that I got last year. I keep the vintage Barbies down here. Upstairs, I keep the more modern dolls. This is quite a little collector item. I started collecting Barbie accessories from the 60s. This is a Starlight clock from '63. They're quite hard to come by in good shape. Down here, we have Fan Club from the 60s that, back then you'd get like a little bracelet and a sticker and your official card. That stuff all had to be acquired off of eBay. And just all the kind of, puzzles, lunch boxes, obviously. This is quite a rare lunchbox type. There's a lot of Barbie lunchboxes we'll show you later. But yeah, so, and then down here.
Down here, this is Johnny West. I don't know if you guys remember Johnny West, but Johnny West was the Western version of G.I. Joe. It was made by Marx, though. But that was when I was a kid. That was crazy. No, you know what? These are not Hawaiian Punch characters. These are. I love these things, and let me get a good shot of it. These are Funny Face, and Funny Face was, I think Pillsbury put out Funny Face. It was competition for Kool-Aid, and they had all these crazy characters. Some are considered very racially insensitive today, so they didn't make cups of those. But they actually were then too. And there's you had Goofy Grape, you had Way Out Watermelon, Choo Choo Cherry, Lefty Lemon. These things, some of these are from when I was a kid, and I just finished off the set on my own just a few years ago. But yeah, I love those things. Those things are very, very cool. We're going to go over here. We're going to take a quick look at Evel Knievel. Evel Knievel, like the man himself, was a toy that dared you to break it. So all you did was rev it up with your launcher there and shot it over boards and tried to crash it. And then up here, these are a number of, mainly from the 50s and 60s. In the 50s and 60s, cowboys were the superheroes. Before there were the Avengers, you know, the superheroes were cowboys. So we have some boxes there. Those are mostly from there. Then over here, oh, I can explain this.
So this, for some of you people out there that were kids in the 80s, this was a McDonald's set from, I believe it was 83 that I had. Steve and I rebought it recently, brand new in the box, and we actually assembled it, you know, brand new, like 6 months ago. And I have to say, it's quite challenging for adults. I feel for my parents all those Christmas mornings that they spent putting little stickers on little Barbie things, because
so many small parts and so much small instructions.
yes, totally.
Yeah. And some people are probably going, I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was saying, some people are probably wondering, why in the world would you take something that's survived all these years in a box and actually put it together? Because we believe in playing with our toys.
Yeah.
We're not in it to resell. I mean, we realize there's money on the walls here, but we're not in the resale. This right here is G.I. Joe astronaut, complete with the capsule that floated. I'm not about ready to test that, but G.I. Joe was the very first action figure. The story goes that when they were pitching G.I. Joe, the toy executive said they would never, boys will never buy a doll. So they, instead of calling it a doll, they called it an posable action figure, or movable action figure. And that's the term action figure came up. Some more vintage Barbies.
Yeah, we have, well, we got Ricky here, for those people that know their vintage Barbies. This is, of course, Skipper, probably most people know. Skipper then, in the Barbie universe, had to have a friend, so she had Scooter. Then Scooter had to have like a little boy friend, and that was Ricky. And of course, here's Ken and Midge, who was Barbie's friend, and Alan was Ken's friend. So everybody had a friend in the 60s in the Barbie land, and they continue today.
Another Matt Mason right there. We'll go through a little, get some.
Really into vehicles. This vehicle is very hard to find in this condition. This was Ken's hot rod. And you can see I have the ad for it back there. Barbie and Ken and Midge. Apparently all three of them are supposed to fit in there. And that one I got off of eBay.
Another one of my favorite things to collect is Hirschfeld prints. And these are some that are vintage television shows. You've got, you know, the Phil Silver Show or Sergeant Bilko, depending on when you watched it. Petticoat Junction, and of course the honeymooners right there. These are, I just love Hirschfeld. They're just so cool. And he just screams Broadway. That was his. He did so many playbills and all that back in time. This up here is a number. You'll see these all over the house. Adam Ant, Dr. Doolittle, Have Gun Will Travel, Harlem Globetrotters. Love this box. It just, Bobby Sherman was the thing back. It's just a kitschy box for all those big Bobby Sherman fans back in the late 60s. And some graph of this.
While you do that, Steve, we have a couple of questions in here.
Sure.
People totally agree about the toys. They say it's like if you collected vinyl and didn't have a turntable, which I is a great quote. Someone wanted to know, do you have any Dawn dolls? And then somebody else wanted to know, which is kind of the question we get all the time, how do you keep everything clean in your home?
Well, we don't have any Dawn dolls.
I don't think we have any Dawn dolls. No.
Don't have any of those. You know, it's trying to explain hoarding and collecting. We're not hoarders because everything has a meaning and a place. And when everything has a place and they're organized nicely, then it's a little bit easier to clean. Like I could put twice as much stuff in these cabinets, but we don't, because we want the space around them to be able to dust around them. And also with these cases, if you shut the doors, you're not going to get a whole lot in there. So this here right here is this is a perfect example of pop culture where a TV show came out, people embraced it. Mork and Mindy, that's a talking Mork action figure. And thus it became part of culture, including here's G.I. Joe. That's one of the original ones right there on that. And then as we go into the kitchen here, this is one of my first 2 lunch boxes. This is a yellow submarine Beatles lunchbox from the late 60s. My mom got it at a thrift store. And I took my lunch in that up until about 1985, until somebody at my work said, you know, that lunchbox is probably worth about $300. And then I quit bringing my lunch in that lunchbox. Migos. I hated Migos when I was a kid. I thought it was stupid that Spider-Man had sleeves, but now I love it. So, all right, so we're gonna go into the kitchen here.
Hey, Steve, and while you move into the kitchen, people, number one, they love the Star Trek figures. They love those figures. Somebody else wanted to know, who are you buying your storage cases from? Because they just love the storage cases.
Those are from
IKEA. We should have stock in IKEA at this point.
In fact, these ones right here, you'll see, and my wife will explain, this room's her passion. These are also IKEA, these medical cabinets. And they work great for storage. And these white cabinets all around here, you can put the lights in up top, and they have the glass. So if you don't keep them too crowded, the light will actually go all the way through to the last shelf and keep everything lit pretty well. So, okay, Diana, explain the kitchen.
So I'm also Pyrex, Fire King, Anchor Hawking collector. So this is kind of, I keep like a rotating selection of some of my finds. Down here, some of these are promotional items, which means that they were like one-offs. They didn't have a set. Obviously, this is a set actually from the 70s. This is actually Anchor Hawking. Most of this is Pyrex. A lot of people will recognize the dots. A lot of people will recognize this print, which is butter print from the 50s and 60s.
Got a question about the chalkboard.
The chalkboard actually has an interesting story. That is from my grandmother, the one that I said is still alive. This was in her basement for 40, 50, 60 years. And everybody has signed it in my family every time anyone would come to visit. So my parents are actually on here. That's me every time we would visit. My parents are on here from the 70s, signing, coming home from college. So when my grandmother went into the home, we had it shipped from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and my aunt just put a piece of paper on it, and we didn't spray it with anything, and it arrived here in perfect shape with all the signatures. And since then, we've continued to have, when people visit, we have people sign it to kind of continue on the legacy of signing the chalkboard if you visit the house.
And her grandmother just turned 104 a couple weeks ago, so she is doing great.
So Pyrex is a real kind of hot collectible right now. I don't know if anybody watching is into collecting Pyrex, but some primary set there. That was kind of the original, one of the original sets from the 40s.
I think there's a question there that said, how did we meet? Good question.
Yes. I think Autumn, who's one of our fellow homeowners who owns the Giraffe House earlier, wanted to know, well, first she says you guys are an amazingly cute couple. And
thank you.
And she wants to know, how did y'all meet and how long have you been married? Was it at a collectible show?
No, you know what, honestly, we met on Match.com. And the story we always tell people is when you're on about our third or fourth date, I had that big piece of lost airplane sitting in my garage, and I'm like, okay, I got to tell her about what I'm into. Is this going to be a deal breaker? So I'm going to give her a chance to get out of this thing right now before, I don't want to pull any wool over her eyes. So I said, no, just so you know, I have a 500-pound box in my garage right now that I just bought a 9-foot by 5-foot piece of airplane from Lost. And she said, that's okay. I have a room at home that's completely filled with Barbies. So we were a match made in heaven, and we will actually have our 7th wedding anniversary
this Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
This Wednesday, yeah, coming up.
This Wednesday coming up.
Yep.
Come on, Steve. You got to know that date better, man. Classic.
Hey, I just consider 4 days from now.
And what did we do on our honeymoon? I made sure that we booked the Lost tour that we went on.
Awesome. Thank you guys. That's great.
All right, so we'll just we'll roll through this. I know we're running off, taking a while here. We have our cookie collection. You'll see cookies throughout the house, Cookie Monsters. Those up there, and then of course we have even more of this 40s and 50s bakeware, glassware, I should say, all through the kitchen and from there. You know, let's go upstairs. All right, now we're going to show you some cool stuff.
And remind us when you guys moved in this house, and kind of, you know, one of the questions, Steve, that I always get asked and always ask our homeowners is, how long does it take after you move in to kind of feel like everything's settled and in the right places, or does that never happen?
Well, I bought this house. We had not got married yet, and I will say that this house has grown. We've lived in here almost 8 years, and it has grown as we filled it up. We didn't have this much stuff when we moved in. It just keeps getting, you know, full, more fuller, whatever the word is, as the longer we stay in it. So it is daunting sometimes because you love this stuff, and you're like, man, I hope I don't ever have to move because it is going to take forever to pack this place. This is his collection is starting to spill out into the landing here. This is I'm a member of the KISS Army, as you'll see, and these are some collectible gold records. Those are new, actually. Picture of me with the band and a picture of myself with Gene at Comic-Con a few years back. All right. This, okay, normal bedroom, not everything's weird. So normal bedroom right there. Then you come around to this side, and this is another area of very particular collectibles here. I'll let my wife talk about these Barbies right here.
Oh, well, we've got Cookie. My Cookie Monster collection has kind of grown during the pandemic, actually. I think I just got this one the other day. I was a big cookie lover in the 70s. This is actually one from the 70s that I rebought. So lifelong kind of cookie lover. So somehow that's multiplied. But then Barbie-wise, maybe about 5 years ago, I decided to rebuy all the Barbies from my childhood. And this is every Barbie that I owned growing up.
We're going to show that somebody said, show the vanity again. Talk about that vanity.
So Hayward Wakefield, the vanity and the dresser. And this is actually from the 40s. And they are a set that I got in Arizona. And they actually came from a little old lady who had them like her whole life, apparently. So that's I always like buying things that have a story. Up here, more Barbie merchandise from the 60s. They were really into vinyl, that they started making everything in vinyl in the 60s. So autograph books, scrapbooks, diaries, dictionaries. This stuff is very hard to find in good condition because, as you can imagine, the vinyl deteriorates over time. So that's a little display of that. And then just Steve and I decided to share this space with Barbies and lunch boxes in here and cases.
Yeah, no, I'm into vintage metal lunchboxes only. I have a few vinyl, but no plastic. That wasn't my time. There are about a little over 400 different vintage lunchboxes from this kind of metal ones, and I have about half of them. So, but I really love these things. You know, you talk to anybody, they always remember which ones they had. Like, oh, you guys out there remember what your lunchbox you had when you were a kid. And it's just somebody, they're just so kitschy. Like, I just love that one right there. The Exciting World of Metrics. If you all remember back, and that was, everything was going to change in the metric system. I never did.
Steve, do people still have lunch boxes? Are they still sold? Are they still manufactured? Can I get a Justin Bieber lunchbox if I wanted to torture someone and mail it?
You probably can. They're either plastic. They do make some metal ones, but you have to watch out because some of these they'll make the old ones. They'll make new versions of the old ones, so they're repros. So you have to watch out. There's certain things you look for, like rivets on them. They're not quite the same size, but there are some. Mostly they're vinyl though. Now they're like the zipper bags, like thermal bags. I do have a vendor's one that I take my lunch to work in, and it is vinyl on that. But all this stuff has memories. That's the cool part. I mean, I went to Disney on Parade when I was a kid with my parents. Saw Peter Pan at the drive-in with my dad in the '60s. Just all kind of stuff. That right there is the last metal lunchbox ever made, was Rambo. I think that's 85 or 83. I can't remember off the top of my head. But just some of these things are just. Are there more lunchboxes behind the other lunchboxes? I have, most of mine are out. We really don't believe in hiding too many things. There are certain ones that.
For the Disney fans out there, I have a collection of, these are Disney theme park Barbies, not ones just Disney, but you could only, most of these buy at, like Disney World and Disneyland throughout the years. I was a big Disney person in the 80s. So I started collecting those. Wicked kind of inspired the Wizard of Oz. They've done a lot of iterations of Wizard of Oz. These ones have the vintage face. And then there's the Wicked dolls. Hard to see with the glare. I think I saw someone talking about up here the day to night Barbies. So in Mattel World, they've done a lot of repro of those great old 80s dolls. So you can see right here, here's the original Dream Date, and this is the repro to it to the left. This is a repro of Day to Night, and the other one, those ones I don't have the original ones. These are the two on the left are original from the 80s.
Yeah, I'll pull this down and show this.
And if they make a reproduction, does that make the original worth more collector-wise, or is it dilute the value?
No, I don't think it really affects too much. This is an interesting case. This is
it probably means that the one was so popular in the first place, they're probably going to keep their value. You just have to make sure when you're buying them that you're buying the right. What's the difference between the repro and that.
This is a very interesting case. Because you can see there's a cutout for Barbie sits inside. So this was like her European vacation. She can fly, or she can drive.
I just think that's cool.
Yeah, we thought that was cool, and it's kind of rare and hard to find in good shape.
And
and then over here,
a 10-minute warning here, time-wise.
Yeah,
okay.
We're moving on real quick.
No worries, no rush.
Okay. Here we go. We're saving the best for last. This we're starting with this room. This poster is from 1976, the Bicentennial Kiss poster. This has been on my wall since 1976. Go into my office here, and it's just a pop culture explosion. We have a lunchbox desk here with all sorts of superhero boxes, vintage comic book rack from the 70s, 60s. And of course over here, we have all things Kiss, all sorts of stuff. We've got vintage or original in the box Migos, 12-inch Migos from the 70s. Yes, I do like Kiss. I love this Mount Kissmore. Totally kitschy. Pops. Signed strap by Ace Frehley, signed by all the band. Yes, Kiss is the most heavily marketed band ever.
And Steve, why Kiss? What first drew you into this, into the web of Gene Simmons?
When you're 14 years old and you're listening to Love Gun in your friend's basement bedroom, life is going to get you better than that. So here's China's electronic. It's not serious, just cool stuff, and there's a lot of real neat stuff. And you're always finding something that you didn't know. We got that lunchbox is awesome, and you even had color form sets. And this garbage can is very hard to come by. That's from 1977. The Kiss comic book that was printed in real Kiss blood. from the 70s. So, I mean, come on. I mean, the music's not great, but it's okay. But, you know, more lunch boxes, Flipper, HR Puffin stuff, Fonzie, Julia, Laugh, and just cool stuff. Again, there's Mork again. Rat Patrol, that is a very, very popular box. And I don't know if you're from that time, remember that show. It wasn't a very popular show, but a lot of guys from the 60s and 70s, yes, people love the Pigs in Space.
Yes, Pigs in Space.
So, okay, we're going to baseball, military helmet, World War II, that's my dad's World War II helmet, World War I, a German helmet. And we're going to go in here real quick because we want to save time for the last room. This is our Hawaiian themed guest room.
And this has Hayward Wakefield Ashcraft furniture in it. These pieces here had that tiki, kind of vintage. Like I said, we'd travel to Hawaii a lot, so this is a room that I had in my old house exactly like this in Tucson, and we recreated it here.
There are 8 coats of red paint on that wall. Get that perfect like that. The things I do for my wife. Okay, here we go. Home stretch. We've got
A little stopover. Can you see it without the light?
It's fine. No, you see a little bit.
So these are Hallmark Barbie ornaments, which I love because they're really finely done. Every year, obviously, they issue new ones, so you have to have them all. They're running out of space. And then here's the Barbie room. So I took a count this morning. I haven't had a count done in a long time of all the Barbies in the whole house, and we're at 459, which I was very surprised to learn, as was Steve. So
a lot of Barbies.
Well, yeah, but we try to keep it organized. I love fashion in the Barbies, so anything that's a designer Barbie, anything that has great fashion, that's what I'm always aiming for. The ones in the cases are called Silkstone, and they are actually a type of porcelain. So, if you pick them up, they're heavier than normal doll, and they're for collectors only. They're not really for children. And this has really definitely blown up since we've been living here, that I think I started with 2 cases. Again, IKEA, great place for cases. Yeah, these ones that he's going through right now are all of the different professions that Barbie has had. She's been an usherette, she's been a secretary, she's been a maid, she's been a nurse, she's been a stewardess, she's been an artist.
Got all these fashion.
That's a Christian Dior. That Christian Dior, we actually saw the Dior exhibit in Dallas and saw that actual dress in person that was on tour, which is really cool. Can you show me your older?
Yeah, and a couple questions here. Somebody said they went to the Toy Museum in Branson, Missouri, but this is better.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's a great compliment. Other people cannot. The number 459 is echoing throughout the Zoom, and people are very impressed. And then people said, "Can you show us the oldest Barbie you have?" And then, what is the newest one you have?
The oldest one was downstairs, right?
The oldest one was, of course, the number 3 swimsuit one that was in the case, very classic, black and white. The newest Barbie actually is the one that I heard get thrown on the front door right now, honey, that FedEx threw on when we were down there. But before that, actually, my newest one that I just got, I think, is this one, actually. Kind of one of 2 dolls I've ever bought from Canada. Apparently, if any Canadian transplants out there, Tim Hortons is kind of a donut coffee shop, I guess, in Canada. And I saw they issued this, so I bought it from straight out of Canada, and it took a little while to come.
I think somebody asked, what's your most prized? Like, if you had to grab one doll out of here, which doll would it be?
Oh, something designer. It's such a hard choice between Christian Dior or Yves Saint Laurent or Ferrari. Yeah, the Silkstones are definitely, the detail in their clothing is just amazing. And actually, this particular line that you're looking at right now, they just concluded 20 years of making this line. It's called the Barbie Fashion Model Collection. So all of us collectors are wondering where it'll go in the future now. But it's amazing. There's a doll for everything. Like I think Steve showed you. Like we have like there's a
Most expensive?
most expensive.
Probably the one in the bedroom, right? Or no?
Might be the one in the bedroom.
These are pretty pricey right here. These silkstone, which are kind of like a porcelain.
Yeah.
I would say these in a group, have to be one of these. You know, like any other collectible, supply and demand
Yes.
is what drives this. And
if you look up here, this is a lot of people remember these. Up here are, of course, dolls of the world. Anybody who was, you know, they've reiterated all the dolls of the world a million times. I can't tell you, all those are kind of like 80s, late 80s, 90s. Then they did further iterations. If you come over here and look, then we had like the 2000 iterations of dolls of the world. We got Russia and Scotland.
so what do you think is the most expensive one we have? Most valuable, cost-wise?
Probably that Met doll.
Yeah, explain the Met doll real quick.
The Met doll, we'll have to go back and show it quick, is the Met Gala that they have every year in New York City. They only made 500 dolls of those, and Moschino, I believe that's how you say his name, designed it. And you could only buy it in the Metropolitan of Art store. So, of course, you had to get that secondhand off of eBay. Over here, I do like the dolls that come from, say, Walmart are like Playline, obviously for children. So I do collect some of the occupations. I enjoy some of the newer occupations they have that are kind of odd. I'm sure some people have seen like beekeeper and whatnot.
So I know we're coming toward the end. What other questions do anybody have?
Well, I'll Steve, a couple of them, I guess. Number one, people are just kind of blown away with the kiss room and the Barbie room. So you guys really know how to end with a bang. So we appreciate that. People, I think, wanted to know, you know, maybe Steve from you and then from your wife, just one favorite thing out of each of your collections. And then what I want to know to make it even tougher is for both of you, what is your one shared favorite thing in the house?
Ooh, never had that question.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I'm here for.
For me, that's the stuff that you've seen. My favorite has to go back to the two lunch. There's a Popeye lunch pail, which was my very, very first, and then there was the Beatles one. There's one room we forgot to show you. Hold on a second. Let's run downstairs real quick.
Oh.
We forgot something really, really cool. And what would be yours, Diana?
Oh gosh, I think it'd be the Lily Pulitzer Barbie that I got recently. I've been wanting for a long time.
Very cool.
My last room.
And then as you show us this last room, what would be the one thing that you both are in love with and would both grab?
What do you think, sweetie?
Something
Something that we got together.
Something that we got together. I mean,
That's a tough one because we definitely have our kind of separate lines in the sand of what we're into.
I'm thinking.
But there are things like if we ever find a life-size one of those Bob's Big Boys that you used to see outside the restaurant.
Yeah, we want one of those.
We want one of those.
Okay.
That would definitely be a shared one.
That's amazing. We'll start the Kickstarter after this on that.
And this is our Batman themed bathroom, or as we call it, the Bat-throom. So if you're doing your business in our house, you're doing it surrounded by Batman pops, the 66 lunchbox, records, all sorts of cool stuff. And then these Mondo prints, shout out to the Mondo here in Austin. These beautiful prints. So yes, this is our Bat-throom. Almost forgot to show it. That's our stuff we're doing.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. We're right at time. People had lots of great questions. I think you guys got to most of them. I guess if people wanted to get a hold of you guys to ask more questions, where would they go? Is it a YouTube channel? Is it an Instagram? What's a good way to find you guys?
Well, you can. We have I have a website, collectorguys.com. Also, we have a YouTube channel. Feel free, please subscribe. There's some great videos. There's a video just on this piece of airplane and a lot of stuff. I talked to him kids collectibles, a lot of Barbie stuff. That is Collector Guys. Just look under, just search Collector Guys and our channel will come up. And you'll follow us on Facebook, Collector Guys. If you have any questions, just use the message part of our Facebook page for Collector Guys, and we'd be happy to answer them.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing our home today.
Thanks for having us. It's been a lot of fun.
Yes, and you guys are fantastic. The comments were great. I think everybody, what I just want to say is that I hope you're enjoying this.